The F-35 Lightning II. It's billed as the most advanced fighter jet ever built, a technological marvel of stealth, sensors, and overwhelming data. It represents a staggering investment, now projected to exceed $2 trillion, a promise to allies and a warning to adversaries that its owner dominates the skies. For years, this has been the undisputed story, the absolute pinnacle of air power. But what if that story is starting to crack? What if the F-35's greatest strength, its breathtaking complexity, is also its most humiliating and potentially fatal flaw? From the forests and frozen highways of Scandinavia, a totally different philosophy of air combat is taking flight. Sweden, a country with a defense budget that's just a fraction of the United States, has quietly perfected a fighter jet that is turning the F-35's logic completely on its head. And this isn't just about a rival jet. It's about a fundamentally different way to wage war. Imagine a fighter that can be refueled, rearmed, and back in the air in the time it takes an F-35 pilot to get a cup of coffee. This isn't science fiction. This is the Saab Gripen E. This is the story of how a so-called budget jet is not just competing with the F-35, but in the areas that truly matter in a war, availability, cost, and brutal efficiency, it is actively humiliating it. It's a story that is forcing generals and defense planners to question everything they thought they knew about air superiority, and to face the shocking possibility that their $2 trillion investment might just be a gilded cage. To really get this David and Goliath story, you first have to appreciate the sheer scale of Goliath. The F-35 program is, without any exaggeration, the most expensive weapons program in human history. The Pentagon's own estimates now place the total cost to develop, buy, and sustain its fleet at over $2 trillion over the aircraft's lifespan. For context, that's more than the entire gross domestic product of countries like Australia or Spain. The promise was intoxicating, a single aircraft that could serve the Air Force, Navy, and Marine Corps. A fifth-generation fighter defined by two key features: all-aspect stealth, making it nearly invisible to enemy radar, and sensor fusion, the ability to vacuum up vast amounts of data, process it, and create a godlike view of the battlefield for the pilot. It was designed to be the ultimate quarterback in the sky, seeing everything, targeting everything, and taking out the enemy before they even knew a fight was on. For nations lining up to buy it, the F-35 was more than a plane. It was a ticket to the most exclusive club in military aviation and a guarantee of partnership with the United States military. The astronomical price tag seemed justified. But that ambition has always been stalked by a brutal reality. The F-35 isn't just expensive to buy, it's ruinously expensive to fly. While the Pentagon hopes to get the cost per flight hour down to $25,000, current figures for the F-35A are closer to $28,000, $32,000. Think of it like owning a hypercar. It's a masterpiece of engineering, but every time you take it for a drive, it costs you thousands. Soon, you find yourself leaving it in the garage because you just can't afford to actually use it. That's the dilemma facing air forces around the world. They have the ultimate weapon, but can they afford the flight hours and upkeep needed to master it? This single, crushing economic fact lays the groundwork for the F-35's quiet humiliation. Because in a war, the best weapon is the one you can actually use, and it turns out the F-35 is spending a shocking amount of time on the ground. This is where the story shifts from eye-watering cost to an operational crisis. In military aviation, there's a number more important than top speed or payload. It's called the mission-capable rate. It asks a simple question. If you need to fly a mission right now, what percentage of your fleet is actually ready to go? For the F-35, the answer is terrifying. According to a 2024 Government Accountability Office report, the mission-capable rate for the F-35A fleet in fiscal year 2023 was a dismal 51.9%, but it gets worse. That number just means the jet can perform at least one of its core missions. A more stringent metric, full mission capable, means the jet is ready to perform all of its assigned missions. Recent data showed the Marine Corps' F-35C full mission-capable rate was just 22% against a 75% goal, while the Air Force's fleet posted a 28.5% rate against an 80% target. Let that sink in. On any given day, somewhere around half of the world's most expensive fighters can't be counted on to fly, and far less than a third are ready for full combat. In the unforgiving slang of pilots, they're hangar queens. This isn't just a new jet working out the kinks. It's a chronic illness baked into the aircraft's DNA. The causes are all tied to the F-35's own complexity. Its stealth coating is fragile and needs painstaking repairs. Its powerful engine is strained by the immense heat from all the electronics. But the deepest wound is the software. The F-35 is a flying supercomputer, and it's trapped in a nightmare of endless delayed upgrades. The major overhaul, known as Block 4, is years behind schedule and billions over budget. The hardware for it, Technology Refresh 3, TR3, has been installed in new jets since 2023, but the software isn't ready. This means brand new F-35s have been delivered that aren't even combat ready, with the full TR3 delivery now delayed until 2026. This whole system is governed by a centralized, U.S.-controlled logistics network. This contractual embrace means nations buying the F-35 are tethering themselves to a U.S.-managed supply chain, subject to its delays and its control. It's this set of crippling vulnerabilities that a small Scandinavian nation decided to exploit, not by copying the F-35, but by building its perfect opposite. While America was chasing the dream of a single, all-powerful, and infinitely complex fighter, Sweden was guided by a much more pragmatic reality: survival against a bigger enemy. During the Cold War, that meant spreading its air force across the country, operating not from big, vulnerable air bases, but from scattered stretches of rural highway. This required a special kind of fighter. It couldn't be a delicate machine that needed pristine facilities. It had to be rugged, reliable, and ridiculously easy to maintain in the field by a small team. It had to take off from short, 800-meter runways. This philosophy gave birth to the Viggen, then the original Gripen, and has now been perfected in its latest version, the JS-39 Gripen E. The Gripen E is not a stealth fighter. It doesn't pretend to be. Instead, it's a 4.5 generation jet whose design directly attacks the F-35's greatest weaknesses. Where the F-35 is complex, the Gripen is simple. A small ground crew can refuel and rearm a Gripen with air-to-air missiles in about 10 minutes. This incredible turnaround time means a single Gripen can fly far more missions in a day than its complex rivals. But the most stunning example is the engine. The Gripen's F-414 engine can be fully removed and replaced in the field in about an hour. Think about that. An entire air force can't be grounded by a few strikes on its main bases. The Gripen fleet can scatter, hide, and keep fighting from dozens of unpredictable locations. Saab also took a revolutionary approach to software. They learned from the F-35's trap and deliberately separated flight-critical systems from the mission and combat systems. This is a game changer. It means the Gripen's radar, electronic warfare suite, and weapons can be updated in weeks or months, not the years-long, multi-billion-dollar sagas the F-35 is stuck in. The Gripen is designed to evolve at the speed of software. This is the Swedish solution. Not a jet that can't be seen, but a jet that can't be stopped. Let's get down to the hard data. This is where the practical humiliation of the F-35 becomes unavoidably clear. First, money. The unit cost of a Gripen E is around $85 million. The F-35A is often cited at around $100 million. But the real story is the operating cost. The F-35A can cost around $28,000 to $32,000 an hour to fly. While Saab's own estimates for the Gripen E are low, independent analyses and figures from the Czech Ministry of Defense suggest it is significantly cheaper to operate than the F-35. For the same money, an Air Force can fly far more Gripen missions than F-35 missions. In a real conflict, that's a decisive advantage. Next, performance. In a classic dogfight, the Gripen E has some surprising advantages. It's lighter, more agile, and critically, it's faster. The Gripen E can hit Mach 2, about 1,370 mph, while the F-35A is limited to Mach 1.6, about 1,200 mph. This speed lets a Gripen pilot control the fight, deciding when to engage and when to run. Now for the knockout punch, availability. This is the number that translates directly into combat power. While the Gripen E is still new and doesn't have extensive operational data, Saab has a target availability rate of 90%, and existing Gripen CD fleets consistently post rates of 70-80% or higher. Compare that again to the F-35's 50-60% mission-capable rates. A smaller fleet of Gripens can simply put more jets in the air on any given day than a much larger, pricier fleet of F-35s. When a crisis hits, jets in the hangar are worthless. Finally, weapons. The F-35's edge is stealth, carrying weapons internally. The Gripen E carries a formidable arsenal externally on 10 hardpoints. Its primary weapon is the Meteor missile. Unlike the American AMRAAM, the Meteor is ramjet-powered, allowing it to maintain its speed and energy all the way to the target. This gives it a much larger no-escape zone, making it arguably the most lethal air-to-air missile in the world. And the Gripen E can carry up to 7 of them. The F-35 and the Gripen represent two opposing views on how to survive on the 21st century battlefield. The F-35 is all about physical stealth. Its shape and materials are designed to create the smallest possible radar signature, often compared to a metal marble. The philosophy is first look, first shot, first kill. It's a digital assassin. The Gripen's philosophy assumes that true invisibility is becoming impossible, so instead of trying to be unseen, the Gripen's goal is to be untargetable. This is the world of electronic warfare, EW. The Gripen's advanced EW suite is a digital shield designed to blind, jam, and confuse enemy radar and missiles. It doesn't need to hide if it can make the enemy's weapons miss. This is backed up by its superior speed and agility, allowing it to physically outmaneuver threats. So, which is better? The truth is, it depends on the mission. When Canada was evaluating its next fighter, a leaked report showed the F-35 scoring higher, but critics argued the evaluation was biased towards criteria that favored the American jet, like deep strike missions, while downplaying cost and availability, the Gripen's main strengths. The debate is less about which jet is better and more about which philosophy is more resilient for the wars of the future. Is the Pentagon afraid of the Gripen? Not in a dogfight. What the U.S. military-industrial complex is concerned about is the Gripen's ability to erode the F-35's market dominance and the entire political ecosystem built around it. The F-35 program is an industrial project as much as a military one. It binds allies into a tight, American-led technological web. For many, this is a feature, guaranteeing a close relationship with a superpower. But for others, it's a vulnerability. This is where the Gripen offers its most disruptive advantage, sovereignty. Saab offers customers unprecedented control, including access to source code, allowing them to integrate their own weapons and manage their own fleet. Brazil is the perfect example. They chose the Gripen because Saab promised a massive technology transfer. Today, Brazilian aerospace giant Embraer is assembling Gripens, and the first fully domestically assembled jet is expected to be completed by March 2026. This is building Brazil's entire aerospace industry, a level of partnership the F-35 doesn't offer. However, the partnership hasn't been without issues, as Brazil's own budget cycles have caused delays, pushing the final delivery of the initial order out to 2032. It's a powerful model for nations that want a top-tier fighter without sacrificing their industrial independence. For years, it was F-35 versus Gripen. But with Sweden joining NATO in March 2024, that picture has completely changed. In Northern Europe, the two jets are no longer just rivals. They're becoming perfect partners. Look at the new map. Finland, Norway, and Denmark are all F-35 operators. Sweden is deploying the Gripen E. This isn't redundant. It's a powerful high-low mix. In a conflict, the Finnish F-35s would be the tip of the spear, using stealth to penetrate contested airspace and take out enemy air defenses. They are the silent hunters. Behind them would come the Swedish Gripens, the missile trucks. Fed targeting data from the F-35s, the Gripens could stay at a safe distance and act as flying arsenals, unleashing barrages of long-range Meteor missiles. The F-35 provides the eyes. The Gripen provides the numbers, the resilience, and the overwhelming firepower. This complementary approach secures NATO's northern flank far more effectively and affordably than an all F-35 force ever could. It proves the future may not belong to a single best fighter, but to an intelligent mix of specialized platforms. The Gripen and F-35 represent two different roads to air superiority. One is a path of overwhelming technological complexity, the other a path of brutal efficiency. The story is far from over as the F-35 program struggles with its upgrades and the Gripen continues to prove its worth. What do you think is the future of air combat? Is it the all-seeing stealth of the F-35 or the pragmatic, always-ready approach of the Gripen E? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoy these deep dives into military tech, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next video. In the end, this is a story about more than just two planes. It's a collision of two philosophies. The F-35 remains a testament to what is technologically possible, a platform of breathtaking ambition. But it's a champion chained by its own complexity, haunted by staggering costs and embarrassing availability rates. The Saab Gripen E, born from a small nation's need to survive, offers a different answer. It's a masterclass in efficiency, a fighter designed not just to fight, but to keep fighting. It doesn't win by being invisible, it wins by being present. It wins by being affordable enough to train with, simple enough to fix, and lethal enough to challenge anyone. The F-35 may hold the title of the most advanced fighter, but in the cold, hard metrics of cost, reliability, and sheer availability, Sweden's budget jet is exposing the deep, humiliating flaws in the West's $2 trillion bet. It's proving that in the brutal math of war, the ability to simply show up to the fight is the only thing that truly matters.